Atlanta is wide awake in terror tonight. What began as an ordinary dark hour has turned into a nightmare that the world will never forget. Inside a freezing ICU at exactly 3 a.m., King Harris, the beloved son of hip-hop royalty T.I. and Tiny, lies caught between life and death. Machines hiss and beep in an unforgiving rhythm while a faint heartbeat struggles to stay alive. Doctors, their faces drawn and pale, have whispered the words every parent dreads: prepare for the worst. Across the hospital's sterile hallways, grief takes on a sound. Tiny collapses to the cold floor, her scream slicing through the fluorescent silence. That single, devastating moment is already circling the globe on millions of phone screens. Fans are breaking down in comment sections, streaming live tears on Instagram, pleading with the heavens to spare a boy they have watched grow up in the spotlight. The entire city feels like it is holding its breath, waiting for a miracle that refuses to arrive. But this night of anguish hides a deeper and far darker truth. A leaked medical report, dropped like a bomb into encrypted group chats, suggests King's injuries are not from a simple jailhouse brawl. His body tells a story of precision and cruelty, bruises shaped like deliberate signatures, internal damage consistent with a targeted assault. This is not a random fight, this smells like a message. And the world wants to know who is behind it. Then comes the audio, grainy, low, and bone-chilling. A muffled prison guard can be heard muttering, "The order came from above. We only cleared the way." The internet erupts. X, formerly Twitter, melts into chaos. Commenters connect dots with conspiracy threads so detailed they feel like detective files. Who gave the order? Who hated King Harris enough to orchestrate what now looks like an attempted execution inside a locked cell? Just when hearts could not pound harder, another storm hits. Whispers of an ICU surveillance leak spread like wildfire. Alleged footage shows two masked figures slipping through the sliding door of King's room, their movements methodical, their faces hidden. A metallic click echoes. Did they touch the life support system? If this video is real, it means even inside a hospital, under cameras and guards, King is still a target. Fans flood TikTok with frantic theories. "This is bigger than hip-hop," one post reads. "This is a hit job, and we are all watching it live." Outside the hospital, the family's pain becomes unbearable to watch. T.I., normally unshakable, stands beneath the cold glow of streetlights, his hands trembling as cameras swarm. His voice cracks in a desperate plea that pierces through every live stream: "He is just a kid. Please, do not let them take my son away." The crowd falls silent, even reporters lower their mics, as if the night itself is listening. And so Atlanta stands paralyzed, half in prayer, half in fury. Is this the tragic twist of fate that every parent fears? Or is it the final act of a calculated plan to erase King Harris from the world's memory? Every minute that passes without an update feels like a century. Social media keeps refreshing, hearts keep breaking, and somewhere inside that ICU, the battle between life and darkness rages on. Tonight, the question is no longer if something sinister is happening. The question is, who will be exposed when the truth finally detonates? Tiny's scream ripped through the hospital like a siren no one could shut off. Witnesses say the walls themselves seemed to tremble as she collapsed on the cold corridor floor. Nurses rushed to her side, but nothing could quiet a mother begging the universe to spare her child. Within minutes, someone's phone camera caught it all, and that raw, gut-wrenching footage exploded across every social platform. Now, hashtags like #PrayForKing and #JusticeForKing Harris burn across the internet, trending at lightning speed and uniting millions in fear and heartbreak. But beneath the global prayers lies a darkness far deeper than anyone expected. Late last night, a shocking medical leak surfaced like a hidden dagger. Doctors familiar with the case are whispering that King's injuries defy every logical explanation of a normal jailhouse fight. These are not random bruises. These are patterns, deep lacerations and unnatural marks that point to something chilling: calculated torture. Each wound feels like a signature left behind by someone who wanted to send a brutal message, someone who wanted to break more than just bones. Then came the sound that froze millions mid-scroll. A grainy audio clip, allegedly from inside the prison, now circulates across encrypted group chats and news feeds. In that hushed, sinister recording, a guard's voice delivers a single sentence that detonates like a bomb: "The order came from above. We just cleared the way." With those 9 words, the story transforms from a tragic fight into a full-blown conspiracy. Who is above? Who carries enough power to command an attack inside a locked facility and, even worse, to possibly extend their reach inside a guarded hospital room? Social media is on fire with theories. Some posts accuse rival gangs, suggesting a bloody warning meant to silence the Harris family. Others whisper about hidden government connections, deep enough to shield anyone from justice. And the most chilling theory of all? That a secret network wants to erase the Harris legacy entirely, making King's suffering the loudest warning possible. Outside the hospital's sliding glass doors, T.I. faced the flashing cameras with eyes red and streaming. The man known for unshakable confidence now trembled in front of reporters. His voice cracked like glass as he cried out, "My son is being hunted as if he were some kind of enemy. He is just a child. They are trying to erase him. Someone must stop this madness." The clip went instantly viral. Half the internet rallied with prayers and rage. The other half turned cruel, flooding comments with chilling words like, "This is karma. T.I. is paying for his past." The divide is merciless, tearing through timelines and friendships alike. But the night was not finished with horror. As if the universe itself were conspiring to push the story into nightmare territory, another leak struck. This time it was not a report. Not even an audio file. It was video. According to an anonymous source, a piece of hospital CCTV footage shows two masked figures slipping into King's ICU room under cover of darkness. Their faces hidden, their movements sharp and deliberate, as though they were adjusting, perhaps sabotaging, the very machines keeping him alive. Though the clip has not yet been officially confirmed, even the rumor of it has sent shockwaves through millions of hearts. Inside the ICU, doctors and nurses wage a battle that feels more like war. One insider confessed that the next 24 hours will decide everything. Nurses are taking emergency shifts, refusing to leave the boy alone for even a minute. Yet behind their determination, fear hangs heavy. Whispers of outside interference drift through break rooms. Imagine the terror of treating a child while wondering if unseen enemies might breach the ward at any second. Meanwhile, outside, an ocean of humanity grows larger every hour. Fans light candles and kneel in prayer. Protesters raise bold signs demanding justice. Chants echo into the night, blending grief with fury. Atlanta's skyline, usually buzzing with nightlife, now flickers like a city in mourning. The question pounding in every heart is no longer what happened. The question is who will dare to finish this, and who will finally stop them. Tiny sobs have become the soundtrack of a city on the edge. The streets of Atlanta pulse with grief and fury as crowds chant, protect King," their voices carving through the night. Behind closed doors, T wanders like a man lost inside his own nightmare, pacing until his shoes were thin, erupting into tears at the slightest suggestion that his son's condition may be irreversible. Tiny, by contrast, lies hollowed out, her face bloated from crying, her hands trembling as if they might fall apart at any moment. This is not performative anguish. This is the kind of pain that destroys everything it touches. Word arrived like a physical blow, the family has been warned to prepare for the worst. Imagine that sentence landing on a parent, imagine the world narrowing to one impossible moment in time where every second becomes a blade. Celebrity candles flicker on Instagram, black squares and captions that read, "Prayers up for King and this cannot be real," but silence from other powerful figures breeds a different noise, the sound of suspicion. Why are some voices missing? Who chooses when to speak and when to look away? The absence becomes a story itself. Inside the hospital, the saga has become clinical terror. What started as critical but stable has now collapsed into something far darker, whispers of organ failure, frantic nurses racing with trays of emergency drugs, doctors moving like storm clouds around the bed. Each alarm tone from the machines rings like a verdict. Every monitor beep is a drumbeat of dread. The next 24 hours are not merely critical, they are a trial where hope is the only contested evidence. Then came the most brutal cut, a private meeting at dawn. Doctors pulled T and Tiny into a small, suffocating room at 5 a.m. and said words no parent should ever hear. "If we do not see improvement soon, we may have to discuss letting him go." Those sentences fractured Tiny again. Witnesses say she collapsed so violently that medical staff had to treat her. Her scream, "Do not take my baby. Do not take him from me," was secretly recorded and has since detonated across social feeds, leaving millions staggered and raw. As if the hospital nightmare were not enough, a confidential report leaked from inside the ward now points to something more sinister than blunt force trauma. Medical insiders whisper of traces of an unknown substance in King's bloodstream, compounds not associated with a jail assault, substances that point to poisoning. Analysts, speaking behind closed doors, suggest this could only have been injected after his admission. The hairs on the back of a spine rise reading that sentence. Someone may have tampered with his 4 lines, someone may have crossed the last boundary no one thought would be crossed. The implications are monstrous. Who among the staff had access? Who could move within those corridors without raising alarm? Could someone inside the hospital be working against the Harris family? The mere possibility tears trust into shreds. Nurses who once felt invincible now whisper of fear, trading furtive glances when the ward grows quiet. Families in adjacent rooms hold their children closer, eyes scanning blank hospital ceilings for faces that might betray them. And then, as the sun yawned over Atlanta, the clip that shredded the city's nerves went viral, grainy footage purportedly pulled from a camera that had been placed where the lights never go out. Two shadowed figures, faces obscured, slip into King's ICU room in the dead of night. Their steps are patient, methodical, the way of people who do not think they will be stopped. Hands move near tubes and monitors, a hand bends, a click is heard, and the frame cuts away. Whether that video is real or a forgery does not matter to the millions who saw it, the image itself has already changed the story. Outside the hospital doors, crowds have shifted from prayer to demand. Candles give way to placards. Justice for King becomes a chant and a threat. The hospital gates have become the front lines of a public war, families pushing forward, journalists clamoring for answers, and officials muttering evasions. Every phone recording, every rumor, every leaked memo is treated like evidence in a trial that the world insists on holding in public. The question pulsing through every group chat and news feed is no longer how this happened, the question is who will be held accountable when the truth falls like lightning. An anonymous account detonated the internet tonight with a grainy, 30-second video that it claims came straight from Grady Memorial security cameras. The shaky black and white clip is timestamped 2:47 a.m. Two hooded silhouettes slip into King Harris's ICU room, one glides toward the bed, bending low near the life support tubing, while the other stands guard like a human shadow at the door. The footage ends abruptly, but its meaning roars louder than words. Someone may have tried to sabotage King's fragile recovery. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram ignited within minutes. Hashtags like #ICUBreach and #ProtectKingHarris blasted to the very top of global trends. Comment sections turned into emergency town halls. How can the son of a hip-hop legend be this exposed in a hospital built for protection? One fan wrote. Others demanded immediate answers from the hospital administration, flooding their official accounts with thousands of furious posts. Inside the Harris family, the pressure is volcanic. Relatives are now clashing in full public view. Cameras caught a searing moment when Tiny's own family confronted T.I., accusing his past life of dragging a curse onto their bloodline. T.I. fired back with voice-shattering rage, "This is not karma, this is murder." Paparazzi captured every second, and the clip is already a viral firestorm, splitting audiences between those who pray for the family and those who revel in its pain. Then, like gasoline on an open flame, a new audio leak dropped. This time it was not a low-level guard, it was allegedly a high-ranking figure inside Georgia's prison system. The muffled voice in the call delivers a sentence so cold it could freeze steel: "If the boy talks, everything collapses. He cannot leave that bed alive." No one can confirm its authenticity, yet millions have heard it, and the effect is seismic. Commenters now believe King is not being hunted for who he is, but for what he might reveal. T.I. met the cameras again outside the hospital, eyes swollen from sleeplessness. "My son is a victim of a system that would rather silence him than protect him," he said, voice breaking. "This is no accident. This is a hit." The quote ricocheted through news feeds. Supporters wept and rallied, skeptics mocked him, dismissing the pain as a publicity stunt. The divide slices social media like a knife. And then the darkest alarm of all, a nurse from inside the ICU risked everything to speak anonymously. She revealed that King's ventilator briefly shut off by itself in the dead of night. Seconds passed before the machine screamed its alert. By the time staff sprinted in, the ICU security footage for that critical window had vanished from hospital records. Coincidence, or a digital cover-up? Fans across continents are spiraling. Some are convinced the Harris family is cursed. Others believe this is a mafia-style takedown orchestrated by industry rivals. Conspiracy threads grow by the hour, naming everyone from jealous rappers to shadowy government operatives. Every new theory reads like a crime novel, but this is happening in real time. Even celebrities are stepping into the storm. Cardi B posted a tear-streaked video, pleading, "That baby does not deserve this. Pray for King, no matter what you think about his daddy." Minutes later, Snoop Dogg went live with a cryptic warning: "The industry is not what it seems. Protect your kids. They are coming for all of us." Each word added fresh fuel to a fire that already threatens to engulf the entire music world. Outside, chaos has turned the hospital into a fortress. Protesters surged toward the main entrance chanting, "Let us see King. Protect him," until police in riot gear formed a steel barricade. Inside, T.I. and Tiny refused to leave their son's side. Witnesses described T.I. pacing endlessly, lips moving in broken prayers, while Tiny clutches King's hand so fiercely that nurses gently beg her to rest. But time is no longer on their side. Doctors warn that King's body is shutting down. Every monitor beat feels like a countdown to catastrophe. Each passing second is another chance for unseen enemies to strike again, or for hope to flicker out entirely. They have begun using words that kill hope with clinical precision: multi-organ failure and non-reversible damage. Those cold, sterile phrases are tearing the Harris family to pieces. Insiders say T.I. lost himself in a hurricane of grief and rage, punching walls, shrieking at doctors, "You are lying. You are not doing enough. Do not tell me to let go. His fury reportedly sent other patients into panic, turning a ward meant for healing into a room of terror. As dawn slices through the city, the internet grows darker instead of lighter. Anonymous accounts keep dropping new leaks, each one designed to terrify. One claim, wild and specific, blames a major label executive, alleging that King sat on an unreleased track that named powerful people. According to that assertion, silencing him became profitable. Whether it is true or a calculated smear, the story spreads like an infection, and the line between rumor and reality disappears. What is undeniable, however, is this: King Harris is clinging to life while millions consume every detail like a public trial. Every tear from Tiny, every scream from T.I., every whisper in a rumor thread, everything has become content, spectacle, and evidence all at once. The hospital has become a stage where private agony is broadcast to a hungry planet. Inside the ICU, the language of medicine has turned into a countdown. Doctors now say the next 6 hours will decide everything. Monitors flash urgent colors. Machines sound unending alarms that feel like percussion over a funeral march. By sunrise, hundreds of candles and signs clustered outside Grady Memorial. By noon, the crowd swelled into the thousands, a sea of grief and anger. Helicopters cut lazy arcs over the skyline while below, the hospital looks less like a sanctuary and more like a fortress under siege. Then the story broke into nightmare. Sources claim King was declared clinically dead for nearly 2 minutes, only to be resurrected by frantic doctors using electric paddles twice to kickstart his heart. The image of those paddles, the smell of antiseptic, the sound of a defibrillator shocking a body back into a single, fragile rhythm, it became the most shared clip of the day. Millions watched and then watched again, because the idea that T.I. and Tiny came within breaths of losing their son was unbearable. That near-death moment opened a floodgate of darker questions. If his heart stopped once, why should anyone believe it will not stop again? Was this merely the bloody aftermath of a jailhouse fight? Or is someone calibrating the boundary between life and death, keeping King on a razor so that truth is never allowed to surface? T.I.'s grief curdled into rage. Witnesses say he stormed the ICU hallway, screaming at administrators, "If my son dies, I swear the truth will come out." You think this is medicine? No. This is murder. Security reportedly had to restrain him after he smashed a chair in fury. The clip of that breakdown spread across platforms within minutes.